Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why I personally chose to add the barbell curl as one of my primary exercises. And I know that sounds funny, but there's a couple of things to think about. Historically, my biceps and my arms have probably been my worst muscle group. I think everyone agrees with that. Uh, Everyone from my fans to my detractors are like, yeah, your biceps need work. All right, and I've kind of said I like the idea of having some core exercises, and I think we generally need about four. And in my case, I choose to use the squat, bench, deadlift, and the pull up. Okay, but when I look at this from the perspective of where I've been weakest, and it would make sense if you come from a strength background, given that the strength side of things for so many years kind of push the idea that we don't need to train biceps, we don't need biceps. You oftentimes see biceps being a weak muscle in many strength circles, whereas they have tended to be overdeveloped in bodybuilding circles, so it definitely creates a more disproportionate look between the two extremes. Okay, because bodybuilders are known for not only doing tons of curls, most serious bodybuilders are doing side enhancement in their biceps on top of it. Like pretty much everybody you see, in the pro level, even the physique competitors, not just the open bodybuilders, are putting stuff in their biceps. So in other words, the standards for proportion have been made disproportionate. Then you go back to guys like Arnold, who probably were not doing the latter, but they still had disproportionately large biceps. This has created a bias towards this muscle in popular culture and what people expect you to look like, right? So that is something to think about, because if we are going to also train with the goal of looking good, not just being strong, there is something to be said for having very, very big biceps. Now, there's also the point that when we get over to a barbell curl, the barbell curl itself can still be a big exercise. Okay? Look at some of the EMG data, particularly if you do long ranges of motion, any sort of body swing to where you're not locked in super tight somewhere. What happens with the curl? It tends to work a lot of muscles. It's not just a bicep exercise. Yes, it is a fantastic bicep exercise, but how much other stuff is involved? Are the delts involved? Absolutely. Are the traps involved? Yes. Low back? Yep. So this is an exercise that really works a lot of muscles. Even though we could argue that the biceps themselves are the primary mover, but it's the same with a bench press, right? Lots of muscles get involved in the bench press. Other muscles can grow from it, even though the pectorals will always be the primary mover, right? Particularly if you do it through the correct range of motion. Now, I think another point to be made there, the people who have problems with that are the people who bounce it off their chest. Well, if you were to set something at the bottom of your curl so that you could bounce the biceps, the curl off the bottom, of course, it would impact the bicep involvement a little bit, right? It would bias it more towards shoulders, because you'd be taking the part where the bicep has to work the hardest, in the lengthened position, and just bouncing it off of something, bouncing it off a trampoline. So, people would then be talking about, the barbell curl doesn't work very good for my biceps. Well, yeah, because you're bouncing it off something on the bottom. Bench is often the same, right? It's the same way. But that's one reason why some people feel like it doesn't work the chest. Well, because you were literally bouncing it off something instead of using your chest. I mean, it should be common sense. But I digress, back over to the point. Barbell curl can do that. But the thing is, it really is in a way a big exercise. It's a basic barbell movement. And if we think of it from that perspective, we should train it like one. What does that mean? It means we focus on our form, we focus on our performance, and we take it seriously. So it's a mindset difference. When you decide that something is a primary exercise, that if we say that, hey, this is just as important to me as my bench press, this is just as important to me as my deadlift, what are you going to do with it? You're going to focus. When you're doing it, you're going to focus on it, and we should do that, right? If we're going to take the time to do it, get in and do it right. Put real effort into it. Really make those work sets count. Focus on working that muscle when you're doing it. Focus on being concentrated, not just going through the motions. And you're going to focus on the performance. It's going to be, hey, just like it's like I want to get my bench press to, whatever. That 225 for 5. 315 for 5. We should be looking at our curl the same way. Like, hey, I want to get to 95 pounds for 10 good reps. I want to get to 135. I want to get to a full plate for a solid, high quality work set. We would start setting goals like that. Okay. Why would that matter? Because then we're looking at these performance outcomes. We're training it very seriously. We're taking it very seriously at that point. We have metrics. We have milestones. We have things that we strive for with it. Well, if you do that, what's going to happen to your biceps? Well, they're going to get big. They're going to get big because now you are treating the curl like a serious exercise. And I think that's been a problem in the strength world oftentimes too. One reason you do see some guys do have great biceps, others don't. Because we've often had that tendency to not treat it that way. We treat it as an afterthought instead of as a really serious exercise. Bodybuilders take their curling seriously. Most of them do. Why do you think they have big biceps? I think Arnold had big biceps. How seriously he took his curls. You start treating the barbell curl like you treat your deadlift. What's going to be the invariable result? You're going to focus on doing it right. You're going to focus on the performance of it. You're going to focus on trying to do it safely, but to get really, really, really strong at it. And if you get really strong at it with a lot of focus, again, you're going to have big biceps. All right. And again, some people don't want to hear that. There's going to be a lot of my long-term followers going to be like, I don't like this. What's wrong? What's wrong with having some big biceps, guys? Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. More people are going to realize you lift. It's going to create a better perception. You can be more well-rounded. Okay. And notice I'm not taking away from doing stuff like the deadlift and saying that. I'm still saying, hey, we need to take all of it seriously. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.